Jon is the Corporate Director and Chief Financial Officer at Lar España Real Estate, which is a Spanish company focused on retail assets. So I'll hand over to Jon now. And, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And we'll be interested in your thoughts.
Thank you. Richard. Ready? Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. Why am I here today? Today, I have a mission, and the mission is to explain you and to share with you why I believe in retail, why I think retail is one of the best options in the real estate. I understand that it could sound a bit strange, and more if we review the main headlines in relation to real estate and retail in the last 5 years. There were many factors: e-commerce, COVID-19, Brexit, deceleration, Ukraine war, macro situation. Each of them was going to finish with shopping centers, with retail parks, with retail in general. But fortunately, after 5 years, we are still alive. In fact, we are in a better situation than we were 5 years ago. The only negative consequence of this, I would say, wrong perception about retail is how our shares are trading today, with a very significant discount in all the sector. All the retail companies with a more or less 50% discount in comparison with our net asset value. That's the reason why I think that it's very important when we speak about retail to understand that not all the retail is the same. It's key in retail to differentiate. There are good assets and bad assets. There are good portfolios and bad portfolios. And we have to take into account, for example, the quality, the dominance, the strength, the resilience, all of them in order to have a clear opinion about a retail company. That's key. And also it's key to take into account that not all the countries are the same. The United States are not UK and are not Spain. We saw years ago how in the United States they started to close shopping centers, and very quickly experts declared very firmly that this was going to be something that was going to expand over the rest of the world. And finally, it didn't happen. Why? Because they didn't analyze more in depth what happened. Because they didn't take into account that, for example, the commercial density in the United States is 6 times higher than the one that we have in Spain. They didn't take into account that instead of closing shopping centers, what they closed were department stores. And they didn't analyze which was the quality or the dominance of those assets. Different countries are different, and we have to take also into account their traditions and their culture. That's very important also. During this presentation, I would like to convey you that we have to go a step further, those headlines that we read. That there is life beyond those headlines, and that it's key to differentiate between retail assets and retail companies. That's very important. Now I would like to focus in how Spain is today. These are the key macro figures that we present today in Spain. I think that it's the first time in the history in Spain that we are ranked in the top level. We have been always more in the downside, and now we are in a very positive position. When we analyze the GDP, when we analyze the savings rate, the unemployment rate, when we review how it's evolving CPI, when we see how it's increasing also the consumer confidence in our country, and how are performing retail parks and shopping centers in Spain. Well, this is the clear situation. They represent a very significant weight if we analyze the services GDP, 10%. And also it represents shopping centers and retail parks, 1% of the total GDP in Spain. We saw last year how more than 1,700 million people visited shopping centers and retail parks in Spain, increasing significantly. But in addition to that, in terms of sales, they increased even more, reaching to a very high level of sales. That explains why, despite what we have read about those headlines, in Spain, during the last 3 years, we have opened almost 20 new shopping centers and retail parks. In total, more than 500,000 square meters. And not only that, because during the next 3 years, we expect to open 30 new shopping centers and retail parks with an investment of more than 4 billion euros. In summary, analyzing what is happening and the main KPIs and figures about Spain and the retail sector in Spain, we see this as an opportunity. As an opportunity when we analyze those sales, when we analyze the footfall evolution, when we analyze the increase also in the average ticket per purchase, and also when we take into account that e-commerce penetration in Spain is not the same that the one that we can see in the rest of Europe. We are up today at 10% rate of e-commerce penetration, and we expect to increase it significantly. Now, I would like more to focus in an example of how a company, taking into account all of this, has been able to convert in the leader in the Spanish market. We know that for sure retail has changed significantly during the last years. In fact, I will say that it has been evolving and changing since the very beginning of retail. What is key in this situation is to be able to adapt. Adaptation is key in order to advance and to obtain success in the retail. Modern retail has to be able to adapt to the new times and has to be able to answer to the needs of the end customers in terms of shopping, in terms of experiences, and also to respond to the main challenges of the retailers. For example, combining physical and digital. That is something that, as you know, is today on the table. This is something that we have done during our history. Since the very beginning of the company, in 2014, we were the first REIT listed in the Spanish market. In 2014, we started being a 400 million euros cash box with the aim of investing in different type of assets, in retail, but also in offices, in logistics, even in a residential development. We started to invest, and taking into account the world, the investment moment, we decided to adapt to that situation and to go back again to the equity and debt capital markets. And thanks to this, we obtained an additional amount of 450 million euros. We continue investing, we continue growing in order to consolidate a portfolio, but when we reach at that moment, and after listening to our stakeholders, what we did was to focus only in one of our asset classes, that was retail. Taking into account that, we decided to divest our non-strategic assets, offices portfolio, logistics portfolio, with a very high profitability and returns, and to continue investing in retail assets, not only in operating assets, but also developing a shopping center and a retail park in order to increase the return of the company. We became a value creation company, and we have also to adapt when COVID-19 arrived. Taking into account that, that was the moment of the management at an asset level and also at a balance sheet level. At asset level, very focused on maintaining a very high occupancy. That was key when COVID-19 arrived. And at balance sheet level, repositioning the debt profile of the company. We decided 2 years ago to refinance the company, the financial debt that we had, issuing 700 million euros of green bonds. This leads us to a company with a differential business model, a business model that is based on, first, an acquisition policy when more than location, for us, what is important is dominance. Very highly dominant shopping centers and retail parks through cherry-picking strategy in all of our cases. What does it mean, dominant? Well, we decided instead of focus in Madrid or Barcelona city center, we decided to look for assets with a minimum GLA, 14,000 square meters in shopping center, 30,000 square meters in retail parks, with a minimum inhabitants in the catchment meridian, with a minimum number of visitors, and with a specific tenant mix, and for sure with room for improvement in terms of asset management and increase of net operating income. Also key to have the right mix between shopping centers and retail parks. Those retail parks were very important during COVID-19 period. With an optimal tenant mix, with a specific leasing strategy in each of our assets, it's not the same the one that we have in a retail park, the one that we have in a shopping center. Very focused also and taking into account that there is an omnichannel strategy in the retail world. More than a risk, what we see in online is an opportunity. We are very sure that both of them have to collive, they have to coexist, that offline needs online and that online needs offline. In fact, we have seen that in our portfolio. Years ago, for example, we decided to launch our own marketplace. Why? Because we wanted to give the opportunity to part of our tenants, those that didn't have enough structure to have their own marketplace, to give them the opportunity to sell through online. On the other hand, we have seen like brands as AliExpress or Alibaba is opening shops in our shopping centers. So that omnichannel strategy is also key for us. Our most important decision in La España was to decide since the very beginning to be an externally managed company by specialists. In our case, we decided to work with Grupo Lar, a company with almost 55 years of history in the real estate. And all of this with a clear commitment of providing profitability to the shareholders. That is key for the company. As of today, this is our portfolio, 1.5 billion euros. In terms of GAP, 9 shopping centers, 5 retail parks, all of them in Spain. We are focused only in Spain. And what I will say, it's very important, owning 100% of the shopping centers and retail parks that we are. So in our investment strategy, for us is have the full control of that shopping center or that retail park. Why? Because it's key in order to implement our business plan, investment plan. we don't need third parties to decide what we want to do in those shopping centers and retail parks. These are our shopping centers and our retail parks. And as a clear example of which are the characteristics of our portfolio, I would like to share with you a video of Lago Shopping Center. This video shows how a shopping center or retail park has to be. Is key the combination between shopping and experiences, where sustainability and environment are key drivers of the shopping centers, where we can see how a shopping center can generate value in the community where they are, creating housing, improving the public services, the public transport, with a very close relationship with the local communities and public administrations. That is a good example to know how a shopping center should be. There are 577 shopping centers and retail parks in Spain. In total, more or less, more than 16 million of square meters in terms of GLA. None of the portfolios that there are in Spain have these characteristics, have these important characteristics. From all of them, I would like to highlight one. The first one, and the most important, to see how Inditex is in all of our shopping centers. A leader as Inditex and its presence in all of our shopping centers. In fact, we are the owner in Spain with the highest number of lease agreements with Inditex. As you may know, years ago, Inditex decided to close a lot of shops by maintaining GLA. They wanted to focus only in key places. And if we compare our GLA with them today, with the one that we had 3-4 years ago, we have increased it significantly. As at the end, the relationship that we have with them, more than to be a relationship between tenant and owner, is more as a partner. We work together in order to implement 10 initiatives in our shopping centers. So that's important also to put this in value. We have become leaders in several aspects. We are in the Spanish market, the owner with the highest number of commercial GLA, highest number of square meters of commercial GLA in Spain. We own, and we are the only one who owns 100% of shopping centers and retail parks that we have. That, as I said before, for us is key. And we are also the largest operator in retail parks. And for us, it's very important size. It's not the same when you have one shopping center than when you have 14 shopping centers or retail parks. At the end, it is important to have a close relationship with the tenants, and also it's important to obtain synergies. We believe firmly that good performance has to come not only from operating and financial results, but also for corporate results. Transparency has to be the cornerstone. In terms of ESG, ratings and certifications serve as evidence of a good performance in terms of ESG. And from a governance point of view, independence is fundamental. Although I said before that we are an externally managed company, there were some critical activities that the board of directors decided to maintain internalized. We had also very clear since the very beginning that retail management requires a very high degree of expertise. That's key. And by requiring that high degree of expertise, and through the investment management agreement, we align ourselves with the specialist #1 in Spain in retail management, that is Grupo Lar. Grupo Lar, as I said before, a company with almost 55 years in the real estate sector, that have more than 100 employees working directly for Lar España. What is also important, they are the manager of the company, but they are also the second largest shareholder of the company, showing also the full commitment and alignment with the rest of the shareholders. This demonstrates how and why black swans that have recently affected to the retail have not been able to divert us from a strong and resilient performance. We can also see that if we review the last figures published by the company in relation to the full year 2022. By doing things in the right order, we have achieved extraordinary results at operating level, at corporate level, at financial level. In all of them, we have improved the picture in comparison with the previous year. At operating level, we closed the year with an occupancy rate of 97%, increasing during that year thanks to the great job done in terms of leasing activity. As of today, we have a very diversified and solvent tenant mix, as you can see. And thanks to this, they were able to increase significantly their sales in 2022 and to maintain, I would say, the lowest OCR or effort rate, including expenses, in the retail market, around 9%. We were also able to increase significantly our GRI and our net operating income. And thanks to this, to finish the year with a net profit 3 times higher than the one that we had in the previous year. Thanks to this positive performance in 2022, we distributed 2 weeks ago a 50 million euros dividend. That means an increase of 70% versus the previous year, and a dividend yield over market cap of 14.2%, the highest in the Spanish listed market. Looking at the balance sheet, we're in a comfortable position, both in the cash available that we have and also with the low leverage that the company has. Although it's not part of 2022, I would like to highlight something that we did 2 months ago with our financing. We decided to launch a tender offer for buying part of our green bonds, taking into account the discount that they had. Thanks to this, we acquired 110 million euros of those bonds for an amount of 90 million euros. So what we have got with us is first to reduce the leverage of the company. Second, to obtain profitability of the cash available that the company had in the range of 8.5% yield. And additionally, to register an extraordinary positive impact in the P&L of 2023. Here we can see how line by line in all of them, if we compare 2022 with 2021, we have been able to improve. We have increased revenues, we have reduced operating expenses, and we have reduced significantly financing expenses thanks to the refinancing process that we closed in 2021. ESG. Well, nowadays ESG is a priority for everybody, and in our case, it's also key. It's part of our strategy. We started to work in ESG since the very beginning, since 2015, with an ESG policy, with an ESG master plan, with long, short, and medium-term targets. But when we speak about ESG, apart from the good words and the good intentions, what we think that is key is to speak about milestones, facts, and figures. Why? Because stakeholders need this in order to know how a company is evolving in terms of ESG. These are some of the milestones that we have had during 2022. Only some, because we have in our annual report, I think more than 150 pages speaking about ESG. And from this, I wanted to highlight first our clear commitment in reducing carbon emissions, in being a net zero company in the future. As we can see, we have reduced significantly versus 2021 our emissions, as the same that we did during the previous years. And thanks to this, we have been able to obtain by the Spanish government the Reduzco seal, being the first real estate company in obtaining this in Spain. I said before that what is important to generate value and to create value in those communities where we are. An example of this is the number of jobs generated in 2022, more than 16,000. Also important for us to be part of indexes, rankings, to obtain certifications, and also to be part of the main benchmarks. This is important, as I said before, to convey how we are evolving, how we are advancing in terms of ESG. Now I would like to focus and to take a closer look to some topics that I think that are key. The first one, the financial debt. We were able to choose the right moment to refinance the company, to refinance the financial debt of the company. And thanks to that, it allows us to have extraordinary conditions, both in terms of cost and in terms of maturities. As of today, 100% of our debt is unencumbered, giving us flexibility for potential divestments. 100% of our debt is green, showing the ESG commitment of the company. And what is more important nowadays, taking into account how interest rates and how the market is performing, 100% of our debt is at a fixed cost, with an average cost of debt of 1.8%, and with an average debt maturity of 5 years, and no maturities until 2026. We think that to have this picture in terms of financing is a privilege nowadays. Valuations. During the last months of 2022, we read the reports, we read how experts declared again that valuations were going to drop significantly during 2022 after what happened with interest rates in the second half of the year. In our case, it didn't happen. In fact, we increased at 3.5% versus December 2021, and even we increased in comparison with June 2022. It's true that we saw an increase in yields, a yield expansion in our portfolio, and also we saw an increase in the discount rates. But on the other hand, in the driver that we can manage internally, the only one, the cash generation of the portfolio, we were able to increase significantly, not only to compensate the negative effects of yields and discount rates, but also to outperform that and be able to present this positive evolution during the year. This has more value when we compare this with our peers. In both of the cases versus our European peers, in both of the cases versus December and versus June, we have outperformed them significantly, as we can see. Our main objective since the very beginning has been to provide profitability to our shareholders. Taking into account that, the dividend policy of the company is to distribute 100% of the April earnings plus 50% of the divestment gains. Thanks to this policy, we have been able to distribute dividends during all of the years of our life since 2014. And in total, more than 325 million euros, highlighting the last one with that dividend yield of 14.2%. Even during the COVID-19 period, in 2020 and 2021, we were able to distribute significant dividends with dividend yields of 7% in both of the years. Dividends is one option in order to increase the shareholder profitability, but we have also implemented alternatives, additional options in order to increase that shareholder profitability. One of them was the implementation of share buyback programs, taking into account the discount that our shares had. In total, more than 13% of the share capital of the company. And the last one has been this year in 2023, with the bond buyback generating that additional 20 million euros effect in our 2023 P&L. As you can see, very good results, but again, they have more value when we compare this with the average of our peers. In all of the lines, we have been able to outperform them during the last years. And we expect to continue in this line during the coming years, implementing our business plan, which is focused in management, in asset management, in order to maintain high levels of occupancy in line with the figure that we have just reviewed. And also focus in return to a normalized asset rotation policy as we did in the past. There has been 2-3 years that we have reduced that, but for us nowadays is key. In fact, we think, and I would say it's probable that we will see during this 2023 some rotation in our portfolio. First, more focus in divestments. In divest, those assets that from our point of view are more mature, very high level of occupancy, that is very difficult to increase the net operating income, put them on the market, sell them at a book value, and with those funds to reinvest in new assets, new dominant assets, as I said at the beginning, with a higher return and higher room for improvement in terms of asset management and in terms of net operating income. We expect during the coming years to maintain the strong leadership in the Spanish market with results similar to those you're seeing. As I said at the beginning, for us, strategy is key. Strategy is everything, and its execution is the permanent driver of the company. Our strategy is the union between operating management, financial management, corporate management, ESG management, innovation, technology, and all of this with a clear focus in value creation and in the shareholder profitability. And before finishing and taking into account that a picture is worth 1,000 words, I would like to share with you a video that summarizes the presentation in the last minutes. Before the video, I would like also to say you, please don't forget what I said at the beginning. In retail, it's very important to differentiate. Not all the retail is the same, not all the countries are the same, and there is life beyond headlines. Thank you very much.
We've got about 5 minutes for questions.
Okay.
If that's okay. So are there any in the room?
Great presentation, by the way. Can I ask how many more dominant sites you have remaining in Spain? Because it's your first REIT. Eventually it's going to run out. Could you replicate this in France, Portugal, other countries?
We are only in Spain, in our case, and it's true that we have converted leader taking over on the strategy that we had. And in Spain, for example, the next owners we have a significant representation in terms of retail are Merlin Properties, Unibail Rodamco, and KPF will be the most important ones that we have there.
But you will eventually run out of dominant sites as you described them here?
I think that there are other type of strategies. I think that since the very beginning, in the case of them, they decided to focus also in Madrid for Barcelona city center, in shopping centers where instead of acquiring the full property, they decided to acquire only a part. So from our point of view, it's difficult after to implement the strategy. And I think that there are different, these are different strategies, no, between the companies. And in our case, we said, well, we think that that mantra, that location of the location was fine, but we thought that this dominance could be more interesting, taking into account how we know the Spanish economy or how the performance like.
Just quick follow-up. I noticed on your board you had 6 members.
Yeah.
2 which female, which is great. How do you vote with 6? It's an even number.
6? Well,
you've got 6 people on the board.
We have 6 people, but in the case of there is 3 and 3, and there is there is a special vote from the president, from the chairman of the company.
So they have double votes?
Yes, different, yes.
Okay, so you
But
have an
I
odd
have
number.
to say also that what we have seen during our history is that in all of the cases, almost 99%, they have always voted unanimously, no? Yeah.
Thank you.
Given the threat of online, obviously, to the shopping centre concept, how much focus do you pay on, say, leisure assets and, for example, not just food and beverage, but I'm talking about activities like tennis courts or wave. I think there's a Spanish wave tidal surf company or something.
Yes,
And that sort of activity, is that something you have a presence in, or what's your general strategy with regard to leisure?
Yeah, it has to be key. For example, if we compare our tenant mix by activities with the one that we had since the very beginning, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it's true that we have seen an evolution in the weight of leisure. And meaning leisure, as we say, dining, but also all the activities that are around it, that are key, because that experience that we speak is key in order to implement a strategy. Why? Because we want that visitors spend more time in our shopping centers and retail parks, and it's something that we have seen. For example, as of today, I think that the weight could be more or less 25% of the total GLA, these leisure and these experience activities. And it's important. But if I look at the future and looking at our business plan, I don't expect significant changes in comparison with the current picture. I think that job, that work has been done. Okay.
Oh, hi. Great presentation, by the way. You explained that you bought back shares over the last 3 years, about 13%, I think. Is there a specific buyback policy that you have, or is it opportunistic? And where are the shares trading today relative to the discount?
Okay. No, well, as I said at the beginning, these headlines, the consequence of that was the significant discount of our shares. And when I say significant, I'm speaking about between 50 and 60% discount if we compare with our EPRA NTA per share. Taking into account that, we decided, okay, good option is to go to the market, acquire, to implement those share buyback programs. And with this high level in terms of cash, in terms of investment. Why? Because it was very interesting. But it was because that was the moment to do that, because of the discount that our shares trade. As of today, and looking at the future, I think that this won't be or wouldn't be an option. We are now more focused in investment in real estate assets, or even to repeat the bond buybacks. Why? Because share buybacks were fine at that moment, but share buybacks have also consequences that they reduce the liquidity, and we are not a very big company, so it doesn't like, and also it increases the leverage. So as of today, I think that was the moment of the share buybacks. In the future, I think that it will be strange to be that, to see again that.
And what is the discount today? Sorry.
The discount?
Today, is there a discount?
55%, yeah.
55%.
Yeah. I cannot understand.
And what is the liquidity like? I mean, you mentioned
the liquidity?
Yeah, the liquidity.
We have nowadays around 100 million euros, more or less.
We've run out of time, but I've just got one more question.
Yeah, just a quick question on sort of leasing, and it's really interesting, the whole Inditex decision and what they've been doing. Are you seeing an opportunity to do portfolio deals with them? So they're actually you're making them take, say, a slightly poorer shopping centre with some of your better centres. So you're doing portfolio deals with them, or are you looking at individual centres?
When we analyze, for example, negotiation with them, we did it also for COVID-19. We speak in general about all the brands that they have. And as I said before, thanks to that size, I think that you have a closer relationship, and it's easier to reach an agreement, to get an agreement, because they know the importance that we have in the sector in Spain. And what we do is also, for example, when we decided to develop Lago Shopping Center, it was key before starting to speak with them to say, we are going to develop this project. You want to stay here? Do you want to come here to this? In fact, in that case, they decided, yes, I want to be there with our latest innovation shop that we have and with all of our brands. So it's important to speak with them if you want to implement a project in any location or in Spain. Take into account that they are key. If you go to a shopping center in Spain and you don't see an Inditex brand, it sounds very negative, or it shows you that maybe it's not the best shopping center in the country.
Well, that wraps it up. I think we've held you back from lunch long enough, but thank you, Jon.
Okay, a pleasure.